Hello and welcome back to another episode of Gregtech Community Edition Modern. Last time we ended up doing ourselves a big favor and getting ready to upgrade everything with the LUV energy stuff. I know I ended up saying I can't make LUV energy. That's not entirely true. We can get to that point. We can convert it, we can do all that stuff. I just know that with these together, we're basically making 1.5 LUV. So that's kind of the problem we're at right now. Although, interesting enough, it does look like these are shutting off automatically, so we don't have to worry about that, because this is not going through, only this one is, as it's getting used. But today's episode, we're actually going to expand this out a bit, as the next thing I want to do requires it. So we're going to end up testing a few things out and moving everything around. But we do have to make sure some of these blocks that are finishing up crafting actually get crafted first. I guess the last thing I wanted to double check is that I have enough pattern interfaces. So let's craft 10 more of those up just to make sure. Who am I kidding? All of them are going to be crafted because I'm just going to be reusing stuff. Silly me. Alright, well anyways, let us start tearing some stuff apart. I guess the first thing we should do, since it's not even in use anymore at this point, we might as well come all the way down here. Let's grab out those filter casings just to make sure I do have enough. And let us pop on down and disassemble this one, as it is currently not being used at all. Not for anything. There's no automatic recipes, nothing. In fact, I might even be able to simply break it by just going ahead and 5 and 5. I break it right there. That should be... Okay, I don't know why it didn't just do everything, but interesting. We'll try it again over here. There we go. All gone in one foul swoop. Which is perfectly fine, because like I said, we have not been using this for ages, so it's just been sitting here doing nothing. So let's go ahead and make our way over. Now that that's all done, I'll toss that junk in there. And now, just so we don't have any accidents with this, because while I want to make sure we are getting this done, I don't want to be taking out too much at once. So let's go ahead and do our layers to 5. Because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to break out this wall. We're going to start right there. Break it all the way back. I think we could expand it forward, but I don't really want to. So we'll just keep it here. And expand it back. We could do a full 3, but I think I'll just remain with the 2. So let's go ahead and break out this area. And then same thing over here. I am going to actually expand it out too, even though it's going to end up touching this assembler, as it'll be much easier to use the inside space if we do this. So there's the 2 out there, and the 2 out right there. And then we can go ahead and take this in to meet in the center there. And take that out. Alright. And now we're going to still have more blocks in our way, so it's probably a good idea to dump those off and get the few things we do not need out of the way. So let's start with our plasticrete. I'm going to go ahead and extend it out here. Oh, and we almost forgot this part. Now, this is going to be the interesting part. I'm going to go ahead and leave it attached for the time being, just in case we really need it for a block that I'm missing. But I don't think I am missing anything, so we will see about that here shortly. Oop. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now we're gonna go ahead and build up our corners, as those must be walls. And so that's the rest of that amount. Now, here is the biggest reason that we're needing to do this. We need to fit one of these inside of our building, our large engraving laser, which looks to be a 5 tall by 5 by 5 cube. So this is going to allow it to fit barely on both sides there, but we've only got a 3-block space here, so we're going to need to go up an additional 2 at the minimum. And this is why I'm not wanting to dismantle anything yet, because this is where I am completely unsure of how many we actually need, and it looks like I already failed to put the amount that I need for it there. Okay. And then we will go up the 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and across on all the corners, since it still does have to be the plasticrete at the corners. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, because now if we extrapolate the walls out, we need to be able to fill this entire spot here. So let's do that all the way across, and this is exactly what I thought. So I am out of all of my plasticrete now. So this clearly will not work. We know that I can fill in the glass here. We can do that there as well. So we are going to be ordering up some more. Oh, network not powered. What are you talking about? Network not powered. Oh. You know, the network is powered. Devices, what are you talking about, device offline? We have too much stuff on this end now? Looks like it. Let's go ahead and wire our AE2 system on this end over here. And we should see a massive amount of power gains there. Okay, so now we can access our system again. We do need way more plasticrete than I expected. So let's do another 60 up. And we are out of polyethylene because I need to set that to autocraft. So I will be back shortly, as I'm going to go get that stuff whipped up in a quick instant. Alright, we're still waiting for some more of that plastic to get started, but we can start actually pushing things back now. So let's go ahead and grab all of this top part here, because this all... Ooh, whoa, 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 way too much stuff, way too much stuff. Not good, not good. We're gonna have to figure out all of this stuff in a little bit, since I just went and did something horrendous like that. Backpack. Boom, boom, boom. Assembler stuff in here. Got, oh boy, that's not good. This is why you make sure that your drill is on a 1-1, so that when you stand up, because you weren't thinking, don't utterly destroy everything. But we're good, we're good. We got it all picked up and moved. Okay. So now we can go ahead and fill in our filter casing. We do need to find the center, which is going to be right here. To there, and then we go 1, 2, 1, and 2. And there is where our clean room block goes. And we can fill in the rest of our casings. Looks like we're going to still be missing one because it's still sitting there. So let's go grab that. So we don't have to come back up here again. And there we go. Oh. And there's the top, all finished. So now, here's where the important thing is. I'm going to replace this block here with the diode. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to remove the battery buffer. We're going to come on down, and I am replacing it from the regular diode that we have there now to ourselves a IV diode, so that we can actually supply it with the IV power. And now is the time to start removing the walls. And that will allow us to open up the space. So I will go ahead and be right back. I'm going to get the walls spread out, show you how close I am. And hopefully I'll be able to craft the last of the plasticrete blocks before I come back. So see you in a second. Alright, we are back, and I have placed the last block, so our clean room is going to take a second, but it will slowly find its way to being clean again. So, we will let that tick away, and as that ticks away, let's go ahead and dump the things that we do not need in here. We don't need the diode anymore, or the pass-through, because we're using different things for that. That can go in a chest to get melted down later. And that will satisfy our need for that. So now we're going to need a bit more of our wire here, as we need to at least supply, I want to supply about 12 through here. Thinking that should be enough for what we need. Not entirely sure, but I hope that that fulfills our need. So we do need to get down to the bottom again, which, right there. And this is where we're going to have to also dismantle our cable that's coming over here. And unfortunately, we're going to have to go all the way back to its root, as this by one 6 amp cable is not going to be enough. So let's go ahead and influence our diode. I believe it's the soft mallet to do so, to accept a throughput of 16, which then we can go ahead and say, let's bring our cable straight down. And straight across. And we simply want this because I am going to be putting more machines in there that are going to require the higher throughput. So that is perfectly fine at the moment. And we're still good because we got our 16 amp to the 24 here. So we're not going to have an issue with over amperage in there. As for the pass-through hatch, I was actually thinking about putting that right there, maybe? So I guess we're going to end up messing up its thing, but we do need to reorient this. And since we have our cable right here, we can actually put it right there, and it'll be our shortest throughput to this. And now comes the messy part of hurrying up to dismantle the innards, as these are what's getting replaced right now. Let's go ahead and take out those and add that in there. Don't really want to dismantle both patterns, so let's go ahead and do the pattern upgrade. Oh, I have one already. Sweet. Right there. Let's do that. We have no patterns in the inventory, so let's go ahead and add all of these directly over to this circuit assembler, as it will be a much faster craft for those now. Now, here's where the fun comes, and I know I could keep it all aligned so that I know which ones go where. But it's time for us to put all of our stuff away in here, and we will collect them later. And this will clear out enough space for us to actually start laying things out, I think. Full inventory. Let's go ahead and dump. Boom, 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 boom. Patterns, the cables, the batteries. And more patterns. There we go. So now we just make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we could socket it one back, but I'll probably put it right up against the wall. 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Okay. Sweet. So now it's time to dump the rest of a bunch of things in here that we do not need, because we don't need the transformer anymore either. We can go ahead and take ourselves, what's in here, the blocks needed to make this cool machine. So let's look at the recipe for it one more time. So the bottom is entirely this, I guess it's not entirely. Just want to make sure we can put our inputs. Does the output bus have to go somewhere specific? Input output bus. Okay, so we can do kind of wherever. I'm going to go ahead and make it so that backline is not the anything important, just because that allows us for the modular ability of switching things out. So we'll put our parallel hatch down, we'll put our maintenance hatch down, and then I guess this one can be an input. So let's do that. We'll do our, actually we could do our output in the corner there so that we can wire up our thing. And now it comes up to how many different lenses we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I think we have an additional 2, so I'm pretty sure 10 is the best number for that. I'm hoping that the individual hatch thing will work properly, but we will see what happens when we do this. So there's almost all of them. There is all of them. So now we can go ahead and fill in the rest of our multi-block really quick, which needs to be as such, and 1 block there. Is that right? No, that's supposed to be there. These don't go there. I knew something was a little bit messed up. We don't want to go to cover that part, so just like that. Straight down, straight down. That is not a block. Straight down, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I guess we have these 3 indeed as well. So now we need ourselves the tungsteel pipe casing, these assembly line gratings, which we made for our assembly station before. And I guess we need to fill the entire bottom here. And I see that I have forgotten 2 blocks. Actually, what is up with this? I feel like I've forgotten more than 2 blocks. 60. 1 window all the way around with the 8 tempered glass. I feel like something's amiss, considering 2 blocks is not going to solve the issue that we have, where we have so many empty spaces in between. So let's look at that one more time here. Yeah. An intriguing issue indeed. Let's go ahead and order up 2 more of these laser safe blocks. And while we let those run, Oh boy, this is the fun part. So, I need to give this recipe. There was a recipe. Where'd it go? Yes. Back here. Oh, let's just fix that. We can actually make the titanium carbide and then grind it down. Totally forgot about that. Where is our macerator? Boom, boom. And there we go. Okay, now we should be able to order the 2 blocks. There we go. It's fast. Okay, and that's going to be going for a second. In the meantime, we can place our tempered glass. This is something that's getting confusing. I see what our problem is it's not 5 blocks tall, so we don't need all of that. But that also sorts out a question for us, so we might as well remove these. And then we've got to remove the entire swath of the top here. Move it all down one. They're like, I don't know how I over-ordered blocks due to the fact that we're putting so many inputs on this, and then still have a problem. So let's do our input. I guess it'd actually be nicer if we move this one too, and then we have that be the output. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll end up moving this one down 1. Move our IV, boom, boom, and our output. Now, let's replace our, yes, not that one. Place our casing all the way around with our assembly line rating. And our casing once more, and our tongue steel pipe casing. Just get ourselves the glass. 1, 2. There we go. Nice and simple. So now all that's left is making sure that all of these are on distinct buses. I don't know if you have to spray paint for distinct buses for sure. It seemed like the answer to that was no because of the way that these things worked. But we will see in a minute here. We do want to have our cable come out this way. And just to make sure that we have enough power spread around to different areas as need be, we're going to go ahead and widen this out here. And then we can patch this directly in to our system. Should see those fill up with power at some point, right? Did I think I got this oriented the wrong way. I always do it with this one. Yeah, I did. Okay, there we go. Now we are all set up. It's got power, it's got juice. Now comes the question of making sure that this, our hole is right there. So let's patch in our cable. Gonna have to go around that for now. So we want our ME patterns, and we want our cables. So we'll go ahead and dump those laser safe grid pieces in there. We'll go one right there. Make sure we get it patched up to our system back here first, just in case we need any of this stuff. We are clear in that regard. So how are we doing right now clean room status wise? Because I do know we're going to have to wait for this to be clean to actually... It is 100% clean already. I'm so glad we did this first. Okay. So we need our different interfaces. Let's go ahead and loop that all up there. And And even though it's going to be a little bit redundant, I really don't care. This is a great proof case for this. So now we might as well look up our pink lens. What does our pink lens give us? It gives us the NOR memory wafer using our NADAC. So we want to find our NOR and our pink lens. Now let's go ahead and put our pink lens in our NOR gate. And let's see if we can go ahead and craft one. NOR gate. Do you not see the pattern? These are offline because it's not hooked up out here. That's, you know, silly me. Again, it's hooked up when it's not. Do I have more cables somewhere? I should have more cables. Did I put them away or did I use them? I think I used them. I guess on the bright side, I totally forgot we can... Nope, we cannot. Let us grab a couple more ME cables. Is why I am so glad these are not crafted within this room. Because if that was the case, I'd be out of luck. Those should be whipped up nice and quick, and we should be able to... Oh, and we need one more. The cruel reality. And we, you know, just chuck it somewhere. There's that. So now we should be able to see the NOR gate. NOR. There we go. And here is the test. Let's go ahead and see about making one of those. Brilliant. It's working right now. It'd be kind of cool if there was like a laser thing here, but there isn't, unfortunately. Now is the real test. So, not recipe, we want use cases. So we can make different bricks, or we can make the RAM wafer. It looks like that's all it's used for, so we'll do that one, and the RAM wafer. And so we'll do the second one. And let us see, do we still... Oh, you know, I should place an interface on it so it recognizes we got our stuff back. And there's the interface. There is the NOR gate. Now, do a NOR and do a RAM. Nice. Okay. So I do think that one of the things we also need to do to fix is the recipe ratios, because I don't think... No, they are right. It does tell us the right thing. Okay, so we know that Distinct Buses works without putting the paint on there, which is great. So now it's just up to sorting things out and making sure they're making their purposeful items. Best part is we can actually start using that to make some cool different blocks as well, now that we've got this laser engraver. So, and of course I would do that. Lens. We don't want it there, we want it not there, there, and boom. Okay, let's make sure we grab out the rest of our lenses. So we've got our diamond and our brown. I'm pretty sure I know which one is which. Brown is the power, yes, okay. So we've got our diamond and our brown lens, and the brown's lens is for the power, and this one is for our CPU wafer. Now it just comes to dismantling the rest of these. So this one here can be taken apart, and we can put our blue lens in, put our pattern provider down, and our two things there. And then this looks like two more in here right now. But I do know that we have one more that we're going to have to do. So that's an important thing of why I left that on top of one that we do not have set up. We just have had excess for our needs, so we haven't had to worry about it. That is, I believe, for the ULV circuit, this one right here. So for the NAND chip, we do not have this one on AutoCraft. We simply just had made a bunch of them. So if I go into there, what is it called? NAND chip. NAND chip. Recipe for this. There's not a different recipe. So you have to do the SoC chips. So then you look at the SoC, and we literally just have a few left. And that's the only reason we have that, because those are, and this is actually why it was important for us to create the patterns that we did, is so that we can create 2 brand new patterns. Oh, the lens should be down here. That's why I was coming down here. I knew there was a reason. So now, just in case we need any more NAND chips, which we do for a lot of the ME stuff, the applied energistics. So we want our wafer. We can do the NADEC DOPT one, as we currently have that. And then we want to make this recipe. And this is the one that we prefer. That is there. And now it's just up to going back and putting it in our system. Now, the biggest reason I wanted to do this as well is that this is now running at LUV, which is really, really nice of a system to be putting this on, as let's look up our SoC. We have our advanced SoC that we're going to be working on doing pretty soon here. To engrave it, however, is this the one? It is this one. What about this one? I guess we're going to need another one at some point, but we also need our neutronium doped wafers, so that's going to be a minute. But this one here, which will require a purple lens, is the next one that we'll need. That's why we have an additional input currently, because that's going to be really close around the corner. In fact, if we wanted to right now, we could make it. But seeing as how much time it took to assemble this machine in here, I think we will refrain from doing so at the moment, and I will simply show off this amazing feat. Getting a multi-block structure within a multi-block structure, as intended. Now all that's left is trying to figure out what other ones we can actually fit in here, because I'm probably just going to have to make some different, another clean room before I factor in doing that, as we need saws in here. So we've got all of our chips here, which we're going to have to fix these so that they can go in here, because this one can go in here as it requires the lubricant to be pumped over as well, whereas these ones do not. So we're going to have to go fix those recipes to allow those to get pumped over, fix those as well, and probably switch out the pattern providers to allow for that. And then figure out what we're going to do, because I think we might be able to fit, because I know we could fit a chemical reactor back here if we lifted it up one. And we would just have to figure out how we're going to do our ME interface with that machine. Because we could barely, actually, I don't even think we can move it back one, because I think it has to be an odd number on both sides. So unless I move it back one and forward one, we're not really going to have the space to be able to do anything more than that. So, and then we already kind of like inlined our wire, so that's kind of stuck where it's at now. But we'll see. We'll see what I can get in. Might even be able to pinch a machine right in here. Leave a way for us to get back through like there. Anyways, cool stuff. Because with this machine, we can actually now, looking at doing that, where does it say? Is it ludicrous voltage? It talks about it. The one after. Where is it? Was it on the previous one? No? I thought there was a voltage tier that talked about making that advanced system on chip. So there, that's the power one. So I guess there might actually not even be a recipe thing that pushes that one, which is kind of interesting. Especially because once you do that, let's go ahead and look that up really quick. Once you do this, this makes our best EV circuits, as it makes them much easier. That makes our best HV circuits. They just require the LUV processor. This requires a ZMP, which if we do an assembly machine, a circuit assembler, we might be able to cheese that, but I don't know. We'll see. But it does definitely give us our best nanoprocessor, our easiest and best achieved nanoprocessor to get this advanced SoC. So, once again, thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like and a comment in the comment section if you enjoyed. Also, subscribe. I appreciate it very much. I have a whole lot of fun with these videos when I can actually get things to work, unlike the thing that's over there that has a temper tantrum about things not working half the time, and preferring us doing specifically different things that other mod packs have, but we don't. So, glad I did get it working last episode. Anyways, once again, thank you for watching. Bye!